Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a quick look at a game called Ping Ping. This is an interactive novel game on Steam. I'm just going to read the description real quick. It says it's a story about a girl who knows not herself, for she lives in a world of denial. So let's go ahead and start a new game. Just as a fair warning, the story is kind of abstract, so it's a little bit hard to follow, and so you might have to use your imagination a little bit as I read through this. At first it says, I need you, the reader, to imagine us, for we don't really exist if you don't. Alright, so here's the beginning of the story, and as you can see, it is just a pretty large page of text, and throughout the entire game you're reading through these pages of dialogue. At the bottom you have a choice. You can either click yes or no, and the choice will be made clear a little bit later, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start reading through this story. Alright, so the world was disappearing, truly, into the jaws of shadows it went, street by street in a single gulp, seemingly never being enough for the beast, the void they called it. At first it had crept upon the world silently, seeping through the cracks of the pavement before anyone had a chance to escape. It had swept them up into its ferocious jaws. Was it a hoax, a mere theory? No one knew. Few cared. Until it started swallowing up school buses and old ladies. The news cared about that, pouncing on the story. No one could pass it up by a newspaper or magazine cover without articles screaming about the arrival of science fiction come to life. Some blamed it on the actions of the government, some on the supernatural, and others welcomed it, claiming it was the Earth's way of cleansing itself. Minako didn't know what to believe. Stay away from the fairy tales, her father had cried. It had been the constant refrain over the years, ringing in her ears. He was terrified of anything that was an inch away from normal. Her mother had been like a wisp, a fairy queen who would only last the length of spring. With the coming of winter, she had slipped away as those who fell into the void. With the withering of her mother, her father had clung to the sturdiness of summer. Turning his back on delicacy, he embraced things made only from flesh and bone. Yet where was he now? As if stepping from the pages of a fairy tale, it slumbered before her, stretching across the sidewalk, impersonating a rain puddle, innocent, friendly. She knew better. Casting her gaze over it, Minako pursed her lips. Have you? She paused. It yawned. Its oily tendrils slunk across the sidewalk, oil gurgling and spurting from its belly. It was hungry, she knew. Have you killed my father? Hesitating, she arched her foot over the void. Papa, she repeated, her voice creeping through her lips as a whisper. If there was something beyond digestion, did that mean... Was he alone? Does that say digestion? Yeah. Was he alone, hurt? Dryly she swallowed. Fairy tales were imaginary, fluffy, warm. The prince carried his love off into the sunset at the end, didn't he? Everyone met their happy ending. And you, Papa, she murmured. Was he happy? Could she be happy? As that she stilled her foot, poised at the edge. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Let's see, where was I? Right about here. So, at that she stilled her foot, poised at the edge. Would falling through feel as effortless as diving into the sea? The sea would always greet her with open, soothing arms. In the water, nothing else mattered. Even as her lungs cried for oxygen, it simply served as a lull in the background to glorious silence. Or would gliding through the darkness end in her falling prey to the choppy waters? Would it threaten to swell and crash about her, sending her tumbling this way and that way? Slowly, Minako inhaled the crisp, sweet air. Would this be the last time she felt her ribcage expand as her lungs beat against them, greedily suckling on the air they had received? No one knew where the void led, if anywhere. It wasn't as if the people who plunged through them were able to speak about their experience. They were there one day and gone the next, completely and utterly gone, vanished forever. For you, I, could she. Alright, so I'm not really sure what the void is. Something that takes people away. And I guess you are deciding if you should fall into the void. I think your father may have disappeared into the void. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but you have a choice, yes or no. So, should she fall into the void, or should she not? Or fall into the ocean? The void is basically in the sea. So, should she go into the void? I'm gonna say yes. She wasn't afraid of dying. I'm coming, Papa. She wasn't going to be alone any longer. He would be there, she knew. Inside of her socks, her toes crossed. It'd be like the sea, Minako murmured softly to herself, stretching her arms outward. She nimbly balanced on the tips of her feet. It would only take a simple act of leaning all of her weight forwards to send her into the void. It would only take a moment to die instead of years to live. Her eyes fluttered, closed slowly ever so. She leaned her body forwards, her arms displayed out in front of her. Please be out there, Papa. Alright, so she's going to fall into the void, and I suppose she thinks she's going to die. Into the pavement she fell, against the cement. Her hands became red, her cheeks pale. Please. Against the cement she lay, her lips pressed tight. Dear Papa, today she paused, pen poised against the page, was a fool, her head pressed against the wood, weeds growing overfoot. The void grew, people turned blue, and she sat, with a blanket over her lap, leaves about her head, back against the door. He'd come back. He hadn't come back, not yet. She still believed. School was closing now. There weren't enough teachers left to teach the sullen, bubblegum popping, and hair-twirling youth. Fruitlessly, people were fleeing the city, abandoning their lives to adjust to the one in the countryside. There the void couldn't hurt them. They would be safe. They hoped. They were wrong. They were so completely and utterly wrong. Having unplugged the television, Minako stopped trying to search for news. They yearned to hear themselves talk, squeal, fools. She scoffed, rubbing her ankle against her shoe. The cupboards didn't talk, not anymore. Empty. The refrigerator had an empty mouth, empty. She wanted them to talk. Try the store. With weeds about the door, she couldn't. The doorknob glistened, her fingers aching. Today, Papa, I believed she lied, her toes twisting tight. In his favorite chair, worn, the leather torn, she read, and this maiden, she lived with no other thought, Minako whispered, her fingers tracing the words, than to love and be loved by me. She shifted her back, wrestling against the arm, her legs draped over the chair. Her legs draped over the other, the books sprawled between her legs, her hand poised against the pages. I was a child. Her stomach grumbled. Lips aching. And she was a child. Away. The laptop called. Do you want out? The keys clattered. How? Come to me. Quickly. She deleted the W. She deleted the W. What W? Come to... I don't know. Today, Papa, she breathed, steadily fell against the stairs. She crawled in the basement and breathed. You're hungry. Her wrist dripped crimson. Aren't you? Greedily, the void cried, its mouth spread wide. Devour me. Down its throat she crawled. So I guess she's in the basement and crawling into the void? I'm kind of confused on where the story's going. It started out as a girl, I guess, falling off of like a building or something into the void, which was the pavement, but she wasn't. That didn't happen or something like that. And then she's like in her house, and now she's on her laptop, and now she's in the basement. Now she's going into the void. I'm completely confused at where the story's going. Let's keep going. Today, Papa, I lived for you. Down its stomach she slid. Through the dirt, a hand curled about hers. You, I'm here, they whispered, lips at her ear, or there, everywhere. My worm. Abruptly, she was yanked free. Alright, so what just happened? She fell down the stairs in the basement, into the void, into the dirt, and then she was pulled out of the dirt, and now she's in somewhere else, I suppose. Alright. Oi, noob. Through the dirt, she blinked. Her eyes laid free. Oi, wakey wakey. Papa? Minako murmured. No, it was a boy. He wasn't Papa. From head to toe, he was drenched in white specks of a baby blue, breaking the unity. Breaking from the foamy white... Oops. My microphone fell down. Okay, so breaking from the foamy white was an ivory cape hanging about his thin shoulders, dripping down against his ankles. He was a sailor, a mini-sized sailor, with his tie tightly pulled around his neck. He was like the rain puddle, innocent. His attire saw to that. Let me scroll down. Have you come from the sea, she inquired. Was he only an inch? His eyes narrowed. An inch. That would dry in the sun. What are you talking about? I'm a cutie, just like you are. Flicking her forehead, he beeped in irritation. And dropping out of nowhere on me while I was charging. Can't you find your own charging station? This is my charging station. Now I'm only at 42% charge because of you. His lips turned upwards, fang-like teeth exposed, cheerful. I'm what? Pressing the back of her hand to her forehead, Minako squinted to see the glaring light. Cutie, charging station. Perhaps. Is this a game? Was she lying on the sidewalk, her knees tucked against her chest, with a maniac of a child spewing nonsense into her ear, a mere child's play of a game? You don't know anything, do you? Huffing in reply. He flicked his forehead once more, his eyes narrowed into thin. He flicked her forehead once more, his eyes narrowed into thin slits, his baby blue irises glowing. Do you even know where we are? Where you are? No, she paused. I don't. Perplexing. If it was the void, why? It was a small windowless room, a prison of light, of posters. The walls drowned in them. Suits stretched and pasted across the frame. You're about to tell me, though, this is a charging station where we charge our batteries. Cuties, that is. We are the ones who have batteries. His tone was wistful, his heart lamenting. Don't you know? Don't you? Any cutie knows these basic facts about us. She drifted back, her eyes pulled in his direction. Human. Her lips curled around the word. Tongue uplifted, slowing her pronunciation. I'm human. Human? Human? Bursting into genuine laughter, the boy clapped his hands together. You're a cutie, silly, a robot. Just look at yourself. The boy leaned forwards, his cape reflecting, sliding her hand up her cheek, her hair. She blinked. She didn't see any difference. She twisted her body, her eyes locked upon the reflection, the same gray eyes, the same hair, falling about her waist, the raven-colored locks twisted and knotted in places. Drifting her gaze down lower, she shook her head. The same red and white scuffed tennis shoes. Carefully, she traced her fingers over her cheeks. The same. Everything was the same. Believe me now. Poking her cheek, the boy beeped once more. Did he? Drown in dirt? She lifted her shoulders, lips parting in silent agreement. What's your name anyways, noob? His chest puffed, eyes bulging. And don't even think about giving me some odd nickname that you or your horde of neckbeard followers think is cute. It seems to be noob according to you, Minako commented wearily. Smart ass. His hand shifted to his hips. Minako, my name is Minako. The game was shifting, his focus changing. What horrendous name? Wrinkling his nose, he shook his head. You must be an older model with a name like that. Hers remained the same. Today, Papa I. Is there something else you'd prefer to call me? Minako's hand shook slightly, and she held it to her lips, resisting the urge to laugh. Pretended. So, today, Papa I pretended. In 2 quick strides, he stood in front of her. Even from her seated position, she was taller. His head was reaching her chest, his arms crossed, his lower lip bulging. I'll call you Ping Ping. Ping for short. Much better name. Until I get a signal from you, then I'll know who you are. Ping Ping, her tongue tasted the word. Better than noob. Do you know mine? Blankly, she would shrug her shoulders. Papa is Tochi the Liver. The Liver. My name, with a huff, he would run his fingers through his curly tufts of hair. How could you not know it? I am Tochi 3. Taking a step back, he swept his hat off with a flourish. Saving the world from corruption, living a life in the shadows. I am the cutie's hero. Be honored to be in my presence, little one. She, the alcohol. You're serious, aren't you? Of course I am, fool, he cried. He was an arrogant puddle, bold. Her lips slipped from their grace. Okay, where the heck am I? Okay, her lips slipped from her grace, amusing. I'm terribly, terribly honored to meet you then, Minako murmured. Sliding to her feet, she flourished a bow, her eyes dutifully meeting the floor. May I leave now? Beep, beep, beep. Beep screamed from his lips, tearing into hers. So many questions, so little time. I'll only answer more if you, pausing, his tone changed, rising in excitement, only if you catch more bugs than me. Why? Catch bugs? What did he? Her legs bent, her arms crossed, her lips creasing. Ants, moss, he snorted. Oh yes, that's exactly what I mean. Rolling his eyes, Tochi would mutter under his breath, idiot, fool. Their eyes met. Are you coming with me or not? He demanded, and his voice rising shrilly. Alright, so now I have another choice. This is like the second choice in the game so far. So it's either ... or no. So I can refuse to go with them or I can go with them. I guess I'll just go with them. Her hand rose. Is he the liver, Papa? Then fell. Well, she swallowed. Then his hand grasped hers, palms pressed tight. Deal. He was. So he was the liver, whatever that means. Outside the charging station, the door, having been revealed by Tochi, waving his hand in front of the posters, was a sea of blooming flowers, a wash of color, pinks, purples, oranges, swirling around her. Weeds cast away from the scene, trudging forth, his head was locked backwards, his eyes scanning the sky. Dirt covered his eyes. She knew. Aha, she cried, reaching to the pocket. He slid out a small pink pebble, found it. Calculating, the pebble flew from his fingertips, crackling against the sky. Against the blue-gray flakes fell, the sky coming undone. Bug. Bug? A bug like that, pointing up towards the sky, Tochi would grin. That's a texture bug. Flaws in this level. His voice would rise with shrill excitement. It's our ticket out of here. So far, she murmured. Duh, of course it's up there. They don't want us to get to it. Rolling his eyes, his tone turned smug. That's why we make it come to us. If we find enough bugs, I'll expose the biggest bug, the door bug. Letting us go to the other side. That she knew. Exactly. Clapping her hands together, Tochi suggestively wiggled his eyebrows. It's the whole point of catching bugs. Now come on, noob, I'm going to beat you. If I win, you'll stop calling me noob, she smartly replied. Thorns trickled down. At that, Tochi pursed his lips. Fine. You won't win, though. In her hand appeared a long wooden net. Her fingers dipped. Her fingers dipped, the weight dragging her down. At the end of it was a curved net. Catch them with that, Tochi commented. Bugs are hidden everywhere. Sweep them up with the net when you find them, noob. And with that, the games would begin. So we're finding... I'm really confused. It said something about a texture bug, so we have to find real bugs? Where the heck are we? Are we in some sort of like fantasy world? Okay, so bugs, maggots, springing free from teeth. Carelessly, she brushed the idea away. Bugs. Spying a flower beating itself against the ground, Minako sprung forward, swooping it up with her net. Brightening, the flower morphed into a 1 before vanishing. Brightening, the flower morphed into a 1. So I guess we're in some sort of like virtual world. Before vanishing. 1 point for you, noob, Tochi would call. They sprang, their nets flashing, smiles clashing. Got it. Cheater. With her wrists burning, Minako flinched. Papa, today, tomorrow I won't forget. Shadows cast over them, her eyes looking up. A box. Hurtling towards her with a giant crate, a tiny parachute attached to the top of it. Kia. As she leapt away from it, the box would smash and hit the ground. Bits shattered of wood covered the ground. Tiny spiders fleeing from it. Not all bugs are nice ones, Tochi called, wearing a delight. She knew that, didn't she? With each bug that she caught came a flurry of changes. Time seemed to be slowing down. Their movements became more exaggerated before time sped back up again. Jumping upwards, Minako would swish her net, a flying rose escaping her. The sky was rapidly switching colors, the blue becoming covered by covered by horrific patches of gray. It was working. Her lips twisting down. Ha! I caught a... Tochi, look. Amidst the chaos of bugs, the outline of a door was forming, shimmering in the sunlight. It would be rapidly deepening clarity. Glancing towards her, Tochi would squeal excitedly. Race you. Like lightning, they would be off running, eagerness propelling them. Like a child, she laughed. Joy bubbling from her lips. With a shriek, Tochi reached the door. Blocked by a figure, a huge looming figure, she skidded to a stop, her feet digging to the ground. In front of them stood a large robot, his lips locked in a gesture of disapproval. Halt, kids. Stop, bug. Identification. Enter user and pass. Repeat, enter user and pass, or you will not pass. The guard shrieked, its wheels squealing as it went back and forth, raising his thick, spear-shaped arms. He wildly waved at them. Will not pass. Every word, oil spit from the lips. Oh God, it's you. Slapping his hand against the forehead, Tochi beeped in anger. Don't you have anything better to do? You 10-year-old appliance. Identification. Where's your ping? We don't have it. Oh. Shaking his head, he would step back as the guard advanced. Choose, Tochi hissed. Back way or front way? Okay, I guess we're choosing another path. I guess we'll choose front way. I'll be seeing you, good sir. Mockingly, Tochi flourished a bow towards the infuriated bot. Grabbing Minako by the wrist, flourished a bow, grabbed the bow. He dragged her towards the field of singing violets. The violets' timid voices would rise in sweet union with every step they took. Ugh, border patrol, he snarled. Beeps burning away. Does the world need to be protected from flowers? Minako suggested. They were, after all, everywhere. Seeing the daggers he was sending her, she smiled. He was too easy, liquid dripping into him. No, don't you know anything? Holding up his hand, he counted on his fingers. This world has 3 clans, kind of like everything is divided into 3 kingdoms. There's the cuties, the sirs, and the cyber cats. They're not allowed to go into the areas of the other clans. Ugh, he sighed, his gaze reverting. Dunno. It's obvious which one he belongs to, and you? Which one do you belong to? Shut up, Ping. It's not like you aren't one too, he remarked, ducking behind one of the thick pine trees as the security guard looked to where they were, the light from his flashlight briefly illuminating the shadows before moving on. Silence settled between them, dirt crawling between their fingers. The sweetness of their surroundings served as a sickly reminder of their failures, far from being appealing. It seemed as if a thousand eyes were upon them, laughing, jeering, tearing at their failure. She was beginning to feel claustrophobic, her skin tightening. The front way, shouldn't we have tried to charge him or something? Minako suggested. Stupid Ping. This is the front way. He paused, lip smacking. To the river we'll go. Alright, so we're about 20 minutes in. I think I'm going to stop here. It's kind of a strange tale. Like, one of the reviews I saw of this game says it reminds them of Alice in Wonderland, and I can really see where this is coming from. It seems like we're going deeper and deeper into this like fantasy world, wherever we're at. I don't know how we got here or what exactly happened. This is the void, I suppose. But yeah, interesting story. I guess I can save it here, and I can come back to it later. But yeah, I just want to give you guys a quick look at what you can expect from this game. It's probably not for everybody. If you want a good like tale, if you like reading novels and such, you might enjoy this. Has quite a few choices that you can pick, and it changes the dialogue completely for a little while. Sometimes you get sent to a dead end, and then you have to restart the story from the beginning. But yeah, you're pretty much just trying to make your way to the end of this crazy sort of abstract tale. I'm not even sure where it's heading. I'm sort of lost right now. But yeah, if you enjoyed what you've seen so far, be sure to check this game out on Steam. I'll leave a link to the store page on Steam below in the description box. And again, it's called Ping Ping. That's the name of the game. So yeah, hope you guys have a great day.